happy Wednesday, third graders. We are almost halfway through the week. Yay! So today for math, we are going to be working on making halves, thirds, and fourths. So now we are going to be the ones dividing the shapes. So when we talk about halves, we're dividing the shape into two equal parts. So in halves is two equal parts. When we're dividing it into thirds, so it sounds like third, we're dividing the shape into three equal parts. Remember, equal parts means they're all going to be the same size. And then when we divide something into fourths, it sounds like four. We see the word four right here. That means we're dividing the shape into four equal parts. So let's go over some examples of what that might look like. So just to help remember, halves is going to be two equal parts, thirds is three equal parts, and fourths is four equal parts. So here, our triangle is cut right down the middle, making it a two equal parts. So we have one part and this part. They're both the same. That means this triangle is cut into halves. So now when we work with thirds, we're working with three equal parts. So this circle right up here, we see that it is cut into 1, 2, 3 equal parts. The circle is cut into thirds. Each part is the same size, which means it is thirds because that has to be equal. And then here, fourths means we cut into four equal parts. And here we have a rectangle. We just cut it right down the middle and right down the side. And that gives us four equal parts. So we could have done it where I could have done a line here and a line here, but there's multiple ways that you can cut shapes into equal parts. So let's do some examples today. So this is kind of what our homework is going to look like today. So we are going to be cutting the circle into thirds. Connect the dots to make the cut. So they're going to give you the dots and then we're going to get creative and we're going to cut shapes into that. So here, all right, and I have the lines over here. So what you'll be doing on your computer is you'll be clicking on the line and then clicking on the next dot to where you want to connect the dots. So here we're cutting our circle into thirds. And so a circle doesn't just have straight edges. So we have to use this center dot as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my line and put it right here, connecting these two dots. So it's this dot to this dot to the center. And then I'm going to take these two lines and it goes like this. So I have a line right through, but we know that that just cuts it in halves. So I'm going to tilt it to right here. And then matching where it is, so here's my center. I went over 1, 2. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to take this one to the center. Oops, sorry. And I'm going to go over 1, 2. So I went over 2 dots. Now my circle is cut into thirds. And we can check too by seeing how many dots are in between. There's 1, 2, 3 dots in between. 1, 2, 3 dots in between, and 1, 2, 3 dots in between each surface, which means my circle is now cut into thirds, which thirds is also 3 equal parts. So now it says cut the square into halves, and half, remember, is 2 equal parts. So that means I'm just going to need one line. So I'm going to take this line and I'm just going to cut it right down the middle. Sometimes when you're cutting something in half, the easiest thing to do is either cut it right down the middle this way, or let's say I want to cut it down the middle the other way. I can rotate my line and do it like this. So now there's 2 equal parts here, or I could do it this way and there were 2 equal parts here. So that's how we're cutting it in half. So let's again just review. Halves is 2 equal parts when they're asking us to cut it in half. Thirds is 3 equal parts, and fourths is 4 equal parts. Now, just like we did our rectangle, our square down here, there were 2 different ways we could cut it in half. So also when we're cutting it in thirds and fourths, there could be multiple different ways. Like if we wanted to cut this into fourths, so I took out a rectangle. So we're going to show how we can cut this rectangle into fourths, but we could do it in 2 different ways. So fourth means there's 4 equal parts. So I could take my first line and I can put it right here, connecting here, connecting these two lines, and connecting these two lines. So now I'm going to count to make sure it's cut into fours. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's cut into 4 equal parts, so that would give us fourths. But now let's say I take out these two lines, so now I see it's cut right in the middle this way. And I can tell by there's 2 dots here and there's 2 dots here, so this is the middle. And I can also cut it down the middle this way. So I just cut that rectangle into 4 equal parts again, but it looks different. So as you go through each one, there's different ways that you can cut equal parts. So just make sure to take your time, be creative with it, and have fun. And remember, equal parts mean they are the same size. All right, bye 3rd grade. We'll work on fractions again tomorrow.